Okay, everybody, I'm going to be perfectly honest. There was a bunch of technical issues with trying to upload a lot of the Killer Man interviews so far. I don't know what's going on. I will try to fix it on my vacation when I have more time, but because things happened, I wasn't able to fix it this week. So I decided I was going to release this anyways on a podcast day. So we did the add-on tier list with Ghost Anonymous on stream a few days ago, and afterwards he kind of just stayed on stream and we talked about a bunch of random stuff from Pokemon to Magic the Gathering to just the game in general. And I thought it would just be interesting to put up. I do want the podcast series to kind of become more than just mains of certain killers. I do want it to expand. So this, along with the one we did with Kaiser, is a bit of that. I hope you guys enjoy. If not, like I said, I do apologize. I'm doing my best here to try and fix everything I can. In any case, I love y'all, and have a good one. Let me see if there's anything in here you guys said that would be... I was reading you guys, just so you know. Also, hi, Myth. I saw you in there. 80 seconds on Soak Pillow. If they reduced football spawn range from 16 meters to 12 meters, it would be strong, in my opinion, even with the sound, because the search range would be so much smaller and you could pair it with rat poison. Yeah, I guess you could combine it with rat poison and then you would like know when to do it.
So you said earlier too, you would want to bring 180s back with the add-on. How does that work with console? You think they have a method? You think they'd be able to make it so you could do 180s on console?
Yeah, it would
Finally,
just
because even
it would just increase the turn radius.
that's what I'm hoping. A lot of people tell me that's not possible. I'm like, I think they could do it.
Like,
It'd be fine.
Because okay, the reason why it was the way it was isn't because consoles couldn't. The reason consoles couldn't do it is because basically what people were doing was upping their DPI and like manipulating the camera in a way with a mouse super quickly. If they make an add-on that just breaks it for you,
yeah,
then like it would be fine. Consoles would do it. It would still be a little bit more difficult for them, but there's nothing anyone can do to fix that.
yeah, and it's so funny because like I run into so many Survivor mains that don't really understand, and they think the 180s being gone it makes the killer more fun to play against. I mean, it really doesn't.
It
Because
doesn't.
it kind of incentivizes you to just save your power for scampers, and that's it. You get punished so heavily for using the slice and dice
Well,
that at
well,
least the 180s gave you more options and made it more reliable.
well, yeah. I mean, we've been talking with. I mean, Kaiser's been playing Chucky all week, like the past couple weeks, and
I've noticed.
they were DMing me and asking like, how do you use this power outside of a straight line?
Yeah, yeah. Bran played Chucky twice for me the other night, and he was going through the game. He's like, "Oh shit, this is actually." Sorry, I think I've cussed like 3 times. I'm sorry if
Oh,
you don't
you're
like
fine.
that.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay,
Trust me. I cuss like a sailor. You're fine.
good. Okay, just want to make sure. Like even Bran was like, "Oh, this is way worse than I thought." Like I hadn't played since the 180s, and like, yeah, it's horrible. Not to mention his broken hitbox, where you just hit invisible walls. Sometimes it's aggravating at times.
All right. Also, yes, you're welcome for all the Chucky tips. Go out there and kick all the Chucky mains' asses. We're used to it. Um, uh, yeah, it's funny because I have noticed a lot of people who like talk about Chucky like haven't played him in a while.
Yeah. Chucky has like residual hate, kind of like Knight and Skull Merchant to the point where like they had a really bad situation going
Mm-hmm.
that was really oppressive and unfun, and people have not moved past it. I think yeah, Chucky just has that. People still remember the 180 flicks and not being able to dodge the dash, and yeah.
Also, Axolotl, I appreciate you enjoying the night podcast. Even if you don't like podcasts, I know podcasts aren't for everybody, but I enjoy them. That's why I like making them. Um, but like like I said though, Kaiser was asking me how you use the power outside of a straight line, and I was like, it's hard to explain. Like I
Yeah.
can't like I tried typing it to them, and I was like, I can't I can't. Like
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, you let go of it once the feeling is right that they are within this specific distance. It's like that's not. You,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's impossible to put into like text form, let alone like speak it. It really is. You have to feel it out almost.
yeah, and then I also tried to explain to them. because they were having the issue of you have to let go of the button to get the hit, and for me that feels natural. It's the reason I suck at Hillbilly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so much and anyone who's ever seen me play Hillbilly knows this. I will let go early because
I do the same thing.
yeah, because the idea of it just running into them and instantly downing them makes no sense to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, because it feels like you how do I put this into words? Because when you have to let go to get the hit, right, you're fully in control. You have to plan and time it correctly yourself, right? Like there's a little bit more skill there. Whereas like Billy, I just have to at least make sure I'm in the right spot, and then the rest will kind of take care of itself. And in my mind, I feel like I'm skipping a step, so it just doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm. Axolotl, why are
Like,
you zooming in on Bartholomew's at all? Why are you doing that? Sorry, go. That's a weird comment to make.
oh man, yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious. I think I know who you're bringing on for the next video. Just, I think it's very obvious, at least to like me knowing the Chucky community. So I'm curious to see what they say about some of that stuff too.
Yeah, I mean the next one we're mostly they'll be on here for stream. It's gonna be Scancels. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
I name starts with I won't spoil it. I won't even ask. I'll just live in.
once again, anyone I say this all the time with my because I try to keep the podcast people a secret, and I'm like, if you follow my Twitter enough, like not even like enough, if you just follow my Twitter relatively, you can figure out who's coming on all the time.
Yeah,
Like Pixie, like the moment Pixie came on, it's like I started liking all of her tweets. Like 3 weeks or like a week before I even brought her on for the podcast.
yeah, that one was like a mile away. I was so excited for that one. That's still one of my favorite podcasts you've done. I was
Yeah.
sitting there and I was listening to it and I was like 2 hours and I was like, man, this is good. I don't want this to end. And I knew it. I felt like I only had like 15 minutes left before it was gonna end.
Mhm.
And I looked, I was like, oh, it's like four. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
I won't say who it is, but the next ones, by the way, for anyone who's curious, this isn't in order. Singularity, Myers, Legion, Ghostface. I already have those. I already have all of those recorded. Um, but that's who's next. Those aren't in order necessarily, but yeah.
Interesting. All good choices.
There was a big, yeah, there was a big comment going over all the night changes. I read it. I didn't delete it. I don't know who did. I don't know what that was about. There was also, I wonder if the comment's still up. I'm not going to bring up who they were, and I don't think they watch the streams. But whoever said that they don't like Pixie, fine. Like I said, that is perfectly fine. You don't have to like everyone on the internet or everyone I bring onto the podcast.
I was so upset for her. I wanted to go fight somebody. I didn't find Pixie. I found Pixie through you, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you started liking their posts, and I have been searching for. That sounds rude. I've been searching for a night main I enjoyed for a while. Like if you go on YouTube, there's like 3 of them,
Mm-hmm.
not including Pixie. And so I was excited when I found her through you, and then I was watching that podcast. I was like, "How could you not?"
Myth, we all know you don't
Uh,
like me. It's fine. I'm aware of this fact. Uh, I don't even remember how I found Pixie.
I don't know. Maybe through. Well, I don't know. I know they started popping up in brand streams recently, so I
That
assumed it
was,
was that.
you know, what's
But
funny? That's because of me.
really, that's so funny.
it's I'm like the fucking catalyst that brings people together. I guess it's weird. Um, no, yeah, because a lot of people like when I brought on the Ghosty show for Freddy, like finding him, and this is nothing against anybody, but like it was so hard because he doesn't advertise he's a Freddy man.
Yeah, when I saw the episode, it popped up and I saw the thumbnail and I was like, "Oh, Freddy." And I was like, "Wait, the name is Ghost. Wait, what's going on? I've never heard it. Like, what?"
He has like a full guide on his channel. He's like,
Yeah.
anytime you ask him who he names, he'll say Freddy. Like he's a Freddy man. He's P100 Freddy. Like,
Whoa. That was a good one too. Yeah,
yeah,
cool person.
yeah. There's a few others. I know we're kind of talking about what's it called? At this point, we're basically just rambling on about the podcast, but I like talking about the behind the scenes. Um, there's still a few other killers I'm having difficulties finding, but I will get them. And there's people specifically I want for them who will not respond to me because their DMs are closed. But I will get them. I swear to God. Um, Dredge and Oni are two particular creators I want.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone who knows who mains those characters knows who I probably want. But
Yeah, my head is like you've even the other ones you've said you've already grabbed. In my head, I'm like, oh, I feel like I know or have ideas of who you might have grabbed, but I'm curious. I don't know. Every time you say you're going to do another one, my brain immediately starts racing, and I want to go full detective mode, go stalk your Twitter, and go figure it out. It's so hard not knowing.
Axolotl, there's a few other Dredge mains than just him. Other than Athlete, there's a few others.
Wait, which one did they mention?
Gaming Athlete.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few more.
Yeah.
There's a really well, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And I mean, and I've said this before. Like my bigger problems is honestly just the more popular killers. Like I still don't know who I want to get for Huntress.
Oh my god, yeah. There's a few of those. Just a handful.
Just a handful. It's the most popular killer in the game. Just a handful.
Yeah, I think even right now on Nightlight was she like the third most picked killer and has been for like forever. She's crazy popular.
She's just I mean, she has like everything going on. High skill ceiling, low skill floor, satisfying
Cool
to play,
outfit.
good cosmetics, simple power.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think she has the shortest power description in the game.
I didn't know that.
If I remember correctly. I'm loading up the game. I'm loading up the game now, but I'm pretty sure she has the shortest in the game. Also, Myth, I think it's so funny how I understand nothing about DBD, but it's all I watch. That's the best kind of streams to watch. When you know
fair.
absolutely nothing. Yeah, I legitimately think Huntress's throw a hatchet if it hits a survivor, they lose a health state. I think that's all it says. It's like listening to another language. I remember when I was in college, me and some guy in there were randomly talking about League of Legends, and my sociology professor was like, "I have no idea what you guys are talking about." It sounded like she legitimately looked like we were speaking Spanish.
I mean, you asked if you'd learn anything from watching. I watched Warhammer stuff for so long because a friend of mine was into it, and I just like passively hear it. And it wasn't until somebody like brought it up in another conversation. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's about this thing, and then this happens, and this goes." And the next thing I knew, it was an hour later, and I was like, "I guess you do. I guess you do pick it up."
I have never played a Warhammer game, and I can probably tell you like so much lore about it, just random from over the years.
Yeah, it collects.
like Helldivers is another one. Like Helldivers 2, I actually can't play it because my PC sucks. But I feel like I'm still part of the community because I like interact with the memes and whatnot, and like I've absorbed like the community moments and things like that.
That's me and Lethal Company. I think I've played it once, maybe twice, for like an hour each time. But man, the amount of people around me that have played it so much, and it's been around me so much, like it feels like I've played the whole game multiple times.
You're so tiny. Let me. Yeah, here's Huntress's power description. Start the trial with 7 hatchets. Charge to throw maximum throwing speed. Refill hatchets at locker.
Wow.
That's it. It's 3 sentences.
But hey, it works.
It works. 3 sentences. Meanwhile, where is he? Him.
Singularities has got to be long, right?
Pinhead. Press the power button to create a gateway and release the button to open it. Once open, tap the ability button to summon forth a possessed chain under your control. Direct. It's just the first paragraph.
Oh my gosh. Wild.
I think Larry does have the longest. I could be wrong.
I would have to assume that him or Skull Merchant, I'd assume, have the longest ones.
It's probably Skull Merchant and Pinhead from what I can tell, just glancing at it.
Interesting.
No, I think it's Pinhead.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think 100. Yeah, it's got to be him. That's so much.
Which is weird because at the end of the day, it's actually pretty simple to explain.
Yeah, I bet you that's a really bloated explanation. Interesting.
Now I'm curious. A survivor bound by chains is unable to sprint. Okay, never mind. It goes into like specifics. If left alone, the Lambda configuration engine shoots a chain hunt by summoning chains to pursue. Survivor carrying the configuration will be affected by oblivious status effect, and chains will occasionally be summoned to attack them. The survivor must solve the alignment in the chain hunt and remove the puzzle box from their position. Cenobite will see the location and be able to teleport. And the Cenobite picks up the Lambic. Okay, no, I don't think any of that's bloated.
No.
That's better than the normal tutorial for the game.
Yeah. You're not kidding.
Yeah, even Unknowns is short.
Yeah, I thought that one might because you have the hallucinations, you have the UVX, the different status conditions.
Doctor has.
Doctors can't be that long.
Oh my god! Never mind. Maybe it is Doctor because it has to explain all the madness conditions.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that is a bit. I didn't think he was going to be on one of the older killers. That's interesting.
Someone said Freddy. Jesus Christ, man!
Oh yeah. It's a bit. Well, yeah, because you gotta explain the dream snares and all that.
Yeah.
Dream palettes.
And then Sadako. Okay. Do we really need 2 paragraphs for manifestation? Becomes undetectable and invisible to survivors, but intermittently visible within 24 meters of them. The honor arrow must manifest to attack survivors. Press and hold the power button to manifest in your current position. Briefly after manifesting, the honor arrow will continue to be intermediately visible to survivors when within 24 meters. Afterward, she will be fully visible within 24 meters, as long as she remains manifested. The Onryo can demanifest by pressing and holding the power button.
Yikes.
I just tell people do it like when you're far away so they don't see you coming.
Man, yeah, Onryo unfortunately has the Skull Merchant problem where like they were like the amount of changes and stuff made to her that I think a lot of people just kind of gave up on even trying to understand her.
Do other killers explain the tokens? Who else has tokens?
Trickster, maybe? He's got Laceration. It might explain that, but it's not exactly tokens.
No, it doesn't explain for Bubba. It said chainsaw charges. A survivor's laceration meter increases each time. I mean...
Yeah. No, it's pretty simple.
What guard? Or knight guard? This is the other weird thing with this one. Does this tell you what each of the guards do?
No. Well, maybe it does in there, but they don't have like their own sections, which if they explain it, it should.
Okay, it says, okay, the Carnifex breaks and damages objects faster. The assassin moves faster during the hunt, and the jailer who patrols longer and is better at detection. It doesn't go into like the little things, but wins? Jesus. I mean, to be fair, all of like just skimming that, all of this seems relevant.
Yeah, no, all of it is. In fact, like funnily enough, I think you could even add on to some of these because there's a lot of stuff that's like not explained still. A lot of these killers have so many complex little details.
Oh yeah, someone told me this with Wesker. Does it say it? It doesn't. Did you know his recharge rate is faster based on how many people are infected?
Yeah, I think I actually found that out through somebody talking to you. I don't remember who that was or when, but I thought it was one of your videos or one of your streams. I heard somebody say that, and I was like, maybe it was Pixie. I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember which one, but I remember that coming up. I was like, had no idea. I don't think that's mentioned anywhere.
Yeah, same with Singularity, just like Axolotl mentioned. It doesn't mention that the overclock time is extended based on how many people have a slipstream on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so many fine details that impact your gameplay that they don't talk about.
Another thing, let me check this real quick. Singularity can shoot and spawn bipods around the map. These bipods will attach to vertical surfaces. They land on the Singularity control bipod, rolling the clear. Take a survivor, collecting them. When Slipstream, the survivor can teleport, or the Singularity can teleport next to the Slipstream survivor, either by using the bipods to tag them or shooting them. Okay, I was incorrect. Someone did mention this to me. I did say it didn't mention you could shoot them directly. But even in this description, though, it does not explain that very well.
No.
Because
in fact, they... Oh, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I've known people who played Singularity before and didn't know you could do that.
I think instead of these paragraphs that admittedly I don't think very many people even read, they need to do what I don't know if you ever played Monster Hunter World, but they have like little videos playing and showing. I think that'd be better off at that point.
Or just like a 2-minute tutorial.
Yeah, something.
Just load into a map and be like, this is what the power does.
I still want just like a regular, like, let me load into a map with a killer for like unlimited time. I don't want to load in and like try to like put these builds on survivors to like buy myself 5 minutes to practice something.
Random thing, my friend doesn't read power descriptions, so he didn't know you could reel in your harpoon gun as Deathslinger. Thought he sucked.
Oh, that sucks.
I didn't know you could hit... When I first started playing this game, Deathslinger was one of the main killers I played. I didn't know you could hit people through windows. Like with the M1. Like, I knew you could shoot them, but I didn't know you could like reel them next to it and hit them.
Yeah, there's so much. It's so funny because, like, I don't know when you came into the game, but I think you said you came in, what, like a year or a few years ago?
Nemesis.
Yeah, yeah. So you came in like not too terribly long ago. So there's so many perks you got to learn. If you want to play Survivor, you got to learn all these different killers. And then even once you get through all the basic stuff, there's just so much beyond that. All these little things. It's really quite a large load for new players. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, 8 pages of perks, soon to be 9.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, give it like another 2-3 years. It's a lot.
I mean, I always joke when people come on the podcast and like we talk about add-ons, and you know, you'll probably hear it from a couple of them. They'll be like, "Hang on, I gotta pull up the wiki." I don't blame anyone, even people who main killers, for doing that.
No, I don't memorize all the numbers. I might have a good idea of what the effect is.
Even then, I play Larry.
Hard.
I play Larry all the time. I can't tell you what half of his add-ons are.
Yeah.
Like, if someone, like, mentioned it to me and be like, oh, how do you feel about the exhausted add-on? I'd be like, okay, well, I know he has one. But, like, I couldn't tell you what it's called. Or, like, like...
Yeah, Knight's my tertiary, and I couldn't tell you any of the, like, other add-ons. That, like, I know, like, a handful of them, but I know the rest aren't great, and I can't afford to run them, so they just kind of fade into nothingness.
Also, hi, Nicole. Survivor has 10 pages of perks. I don't have all of them, so I actually don't know if that's true or not, but I have most of them. Hang on.
That's crazy. There's so many characters.
I mean, I'm at 7, and I don't even have all of them.
Yeah. I just remember looking at it the first time I loaded in. And I came in, I don't remember if it was Pyramid Head or it was Demogorgon when I started. It was one of the two. And just a wall upon walls of just perks. And trying to memorize and figure out what they were and what I wanted was just so hard.
It is 10 pages.
I just feel bad for new players.
It is 10 pages.
Crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Just the sad thing is half of these don't even matter.
I know. You know how, like, I don't know if it was before Nemesis. It used to be that perks had, like, their own rarities. Like, they didn't all go from, like, one colored all to purple when they hit tier 3. Like, some were rare perks, some weren't. I kind of wish they went back to that system. I think it'd help newer players, like, just the less performing ones, make them, like, yellows, greens, for, like, mids, and then the really good ones, purples. It would help new players a ton.
I think, you know, because I've heard some people say, like, they want that adding, like, systems to the perk tree would, like, make it more complicated for new players. But I genuinely
that'd make
think,
it easy.
Like, my idea has always been, so in Warframe, they have these things, I don't know if you played Warframe before.
Mm-hmm.
So
not much, but a little bit.
In Warframe, they have this thing called Riven mods. And what they are is it's basically a mod for a specific gun that you have to like farm once a week. And they're insane. They can be insane. They're random stats, but they can be insane stats. But the way it works is they cost a certain amount of points to put into the gun, and the way the points are understood. And someone, I'm probably butchering this explanation, but so like let's say it costs 10 points for this one mod because it does a bunch of stuff like it triples your damage, triples your status chance, triples your reload time, like things like that. Um, the way they balance it is depending on how much the gun is used, depends on how many points the gun has to be put into it.
I like that system.
Um, because it's not saying, hey, this gun is overpowered, it's just saying, hey, this gun is overused.
Yeah.
So it costs more because of that. And then once people stop using it because the points cost more, right?
And
Then it goes
it goes back down.
It goes back down.
So it just kind of auto balances.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I played Warframe, but I mostly played like the tutorial. That's kind of the idea I've had is like I almost want Dead by Daylight to work on like a matchmaking wise on like a point system. So if you bring in the strongest perks, they're like, let's say the strongest perks are worth like 5 points each. You have a build with the 4 strongest perks, it's 20 points. You add up your team, you go against a killer bringing a build of the same amount of points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You take characters into consideration. Something like that.
So
Because it's just hard right now.
You're in the camp of like the Pokemon way of balancing it. Mogon way.
Kind of. I think somebody else had that conversation. The only reason I don't like that is because then barely anybody plays like NU or the lower tiers. Everybody just goes into.
A lot of people do. I played competitive Pokemon for years. A lot of people play the lower tiers.
I had a hard time finding games. I don't know. I miss competitive Pokemon sometimes, but I don't know if I want the same system because that one was also like your options were like within your tier. You could, I mean, you could always step lower, but I feel like it kind of robbed some options. It wasn't perfect.
Yeah,
I don't want DBD to go the same way.
No, I don't think it's a perfect system either. Like it definitely, and also the thing with Smogon that people tend to forget is there is a council, quote unquote, for like very specific cases.
Yeah.
Darmanitan, Iceform Darmanitan is a good example. Iceform Darmanitan was like at the cusp of Ubers, but it wasn't that good. But because everyone was using it, and because you had to bring a counter for it specifically, they were just like, listen, guys, it's in Ubers.
Yeah, I think that was the right decision. I know a lot of people were really pissed, but I was like, honestly, it's kind of the problem is it was warping not being an Uber. It had to go there because it was warping the format otherwise.
Yeah, and let's also, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Smogon's perfect either. When Mega Rayquaza came out, they had to make a whole new tier for it.
Oh my god.
That's how good it was.
Yeah. Yeah, competitive Pokemon's a whole thing. I tell people all about that all the time. They're like, wait, that's a thing? And I'm like, yeah. It's
Otters,
big and difficult.
Otters, I did both. I actually won Tennessee Regionals in 2014. Back when in my military days. I haven't really touched VGC much since then. I don't really play competitive Pokemon anymore. I don't have the time like I used to because unless you cheat, and there's videos about this, unless you cheat, quote unquote, it can take you weeks to make a team.
Not even just like if you want like even just one Pokemon that with like perfect EVs, IVs, everything, that takes so long. And if you just end up going, oh yeah, it just kind of doesn't work the way I thought it did, you just throw away like a week's worth of work for nothing. It's just not realistic. It really isn't. I get the cheating and the Pokegen, but at the end of the day, I'm like,
once again, I who was I watching? Who's the guy who does the like 7-hour video about Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire? You know what video I'm talking about?
I know exactly what video you're talking about.
He talks about at the end there where he's like, it's not people cheating to like get an advantage and like beat up kids. It's people cheating so they can just play.
Yeah, it's almost like Pokemon. Like they need a tournament mode where you can just like, kind of like Pokemon Stadium had back in the day, where you can just like gen in the games right, the team in right there, so people don't have to go through that. Because you cannot tell me that that these motherfuckers are legitimately building these full shiny teams with perfect stats for these competitions and then having more teams for like other there's no way. There's
I
just no way.
I used to watch Shady Penguin back in the day. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do.
I haven't watched him in a long. Fun fact, that's where my name comes from.
I was gonna say, surprise the two DBD streamers based with names based on Pokemon played competitive Pokemon.
um, yeah, so I used to watch him back in the day. He would do weekly battles, right? And it's
Yep.
well, what he would do is he would make a team, and every week he would like play different people with that team. And back then I was like, how does he do this? Like, I didn't even know cheating Mons in was a thing. Like, oh, that's how he does it. That's how he
Yeah,
can make a competitive ready team every week.
yeah, I remember I was really young when I found out that was a thing, and then me and my brother was really young at the time, but we wanted to get into it. When we were first learning about competitive Pokemon, and there'd be people on YouTube or on eBay, I mean, that would like sell you the ability to like make your own team. So you'd email them what you wanted, they'd generate it and then trade it to you. It was a whole thing. I remember that whole world when I first found out.
Oh, Doug, you don't want to like. I've seen like the math that goes into like Dark Souls PvP. You do not want to know the math that goes into competitive Pokemon
Yeah, it's
because it's not even accurate math. There's like chances.
yeah, it's I remember somebody was
Because
telling me because we were having a battle about like which was more complicated, Magic the Gathering versus competitive Pokemon.
competitive
And I was like,
Pokemon.
100%. Like, no, MTG holds the record as the most complicated game. And
Nope.
I'm like, well, they're
I
wrong.
refuse to
Like,
believe that.
yeah, I've now since been a player of MTG for close to a decade now. And yeah, no, competitive Pokemon far and away way more complicated.
It's like in Magic the Gathering, if my ability does 2 damage to you, it does 2 damage. That's it. Set in stone. 100% set in stone. Even with other effects, whatever, I don't care if it's a paragraph long, it does 2 damage. Okay? In competitive Pokemon, if a move does 60 damage, it also has a chance to do 40 or 80 for no reason, on top of a crit.
That's a bunch of other random shit that can happen. Like, it's wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah,
Like, yeah, and
you could have a master's class dedicated to just learning Pokemon
yeah,
competitive.
I miss competitive Pokemon sometimes. I really don't though. I took too much of my time.
I,
More,
I watch it still. I'll watch some videos here and there just to get the feed the scratch the itch. God, I couldn't say it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's more time consumptive than Dead by Daylight by far.
Yeah, and it's not even just like understanding, it's even like just building. Like
You got to build.
like
Yeah,
in
you build the team. You got to practice. You got to train, test. It's a whole lot.
like okay, I want to make an undetectable build for Pyramid Head. Okay, here we go. Un Okay, I'm losing the sauce. Hang on.
You're good. You're
My
good.
point is here, I swear. Beast of Prey, Trail of Torment, Tinker, Dark Devotion, done.
Yep.
That was it. I didn't have to be like, okay, can this Pokemon learn this move? Does it go well with this ability? Does its typing actually matter for defenses? Should I put 2 points into defense because then I'll make it live this one specific situation from this one mon that's very common? But what if they don't bring
Yep.
it? Then it's pointless. Then
You got natures. You like. There's so much. There's so much. It's crazy. It's kind of makes playing Pokemon passively really difficult. I play with friends and
it's
I'm just
yeah. Well, like I when I played Sword and Shield when it not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet when it came out, I was like doing a casual playthrough, and I was like actually switching my teams out and whatnot, trying all the new mons. But like at the end of the day, if you watch anyone do a Nuzlocke for a Pokemon game, all of them will tell you the same thing: get Gyarados,
yep.
you win.
Yep, pretty much. I Nuzlocke's really kind of lost their appeal the first couple times you do them. So like we'll do weird things like we'll start with different starters and we can only have two Pokemon the whole way through or something,
Mm,
trying to make the games challenging because they're just so the base game is very baby proofed, especially once you understand how it works.
yeah, and I don't think it's bad necessarily. I just wish there was an option to make it harder.
I do too.
I
I do
think
too.
I think
I
that's
was like,
all anyone ever wants from. I can't believe we're talking about Pokemon right now. I never get to talk about
I'm
Pokemon.
sorry.
No, you're
Yeah,
good.
we
You're
hide.
good. You're good. Just options to make it harder is all I want. Like
Yeah, make it.
when I do a Pokemon playthrough, I put it on set so I can't switch my mons out, and I use no items in battle. Those are my two
Oh yeah.
stipulations. That alone makes it moderately difficult if you don't overlevel. Um, I wouldn't say difficult, but moderately more not easy.
Yeah.
But even then, it's
No.
not enough.
No, not at all. And now you're at like you used to. I used to have a lot more fun when the experience wasn't shared, so I had to like kind of at least manage that. There's just so little to manage. I feel like I'm just like sleeping through the game, unfortunately. Uh,
Axolotl, do not bring up egg moves to me. Oh my!
oh my god.
I spent 2 weeks getting an egg move on. I think it was Ice Cube in Sword and Shield. I tried to get Belly Drum on it, and it
Belly drum.
it learns Belly Drum from Darmanitan, but Darmanitan only learns it if it's bred with another Mon that already knows it, but it can only learn it once it hits level 60. So
Yeah.
so yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, and I wonder why people hack Pokemon into the game. It's weird.
It's
Uh,
uh, that was also back when I was working way more than I even am now, so I didn't even have time. On top of that, Ice Cube and Darmanitan were Virgin exclusives.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they seem to have like the perfect system of being like, oh, people are gonna want this. We have to throw in every possible hurdle in the way, and that was one of them.
I will give them credit. They've been better about it, but slow, very slow with it. I mean, we just got
Well,
those mints in Scarlet and Violet that let you change
oh
natures,
yeah.
which was
I
a
mean,
godsend.
I mean, the amount of work you used to have to do to manipulate the stats before they gave us like the little mini games and everything was crazy. Like, oh, let me go beat up like 80 million Weedles real
Oh
quick.
my god, actual EV training. Oh my god! And then when they introduced that dumb way you could do it in X and Y with like
Oh yeah.
the balloon game, the soccer game.
I honestly, part of me was like, this is kind of worse because this is really mind numbing too. And
I would just do it when I was like watching TV or something.
oh
And
man,
it
yeah.
was a lot easier to accurately do it than like, okay, I need to count and tally mark exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, and you had to like, yeah, because you almost had to keep like a notepad next to you too. Like, oh,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. Like, if I ever want to confuse somebody and be like, no, this is how archaic Pokemon is, I try to explain EV training, like old style EV training.
oh my
It's
god, old
horrible.
style EV training was just. And once again, they like made systems to quote make EV training easier, and then it never worked. But because there was like you could use like experience share in like a horde battle and like earthquake all of them, but then the horde battles might not even have all the mons you need for that specific EV. So then you have to
Yeah,
fucking.
it's a nightmare. It
Oh
really is.
god, I just God, I miss making teams.
I
God, I
do.
do.
Making teams and playing the game was really fun. Getting to the point where you could legitimately, quote unquote, play the game is a crazy task.
It's just once again, it's so funny because we talked about the games are too easy, but then you get into the comp scene and it's like, I hope you have some time.
Yeah, you go from like walking in the park to like climbing Mount Everest, and there's like no in between. It's so funny because I've tried to get friends like, oh, I would like to like play this more seriously, and I'm like,
No,
no,
you
you
don't.
don't understand.
You don't.
This is a light. Like you have no free time now. This is your free time. Like there's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground. There's no full time. That's not even counting like how different VGC is from like singles.
Yeah.
Like those are two. Like protect is a pretty okay move in singles, but it's like necessary in VGC.
Oddly enough, do you prefer singles or do you prefer double battle?
I I prefer the idea of double battles, but I prefer playing singles.
Agreed, actually. I think double battles should be the better one, but for yeah,
I think the
I'm the
main
exact same way.
game should be double battles.
I agree. It would add so much more thought to your gameplay.
I think it adds more thought. I think it makes more moves viable in the actual game. Because
Yeah.
like Kingler can learn wide guard. Why would you ever use that in a normal playthrough?
You wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Man. Yeah. I didn't expect us to talk about Pokemon, but yeah, it's so funny. I feel like the people that play like all these fringe PvP games are always the ones that ended up in Dead by Daylight. Like we never had a central game for all those people. So like you got your comp Pokemon players, you got your comp like Souls series players, you got your For Honor players. We played these like really fringe, barely functioning, not really well balanced PvP games, and then Dead by Daylight came out, and we've like all kind of centered into it because everybody here is from like one of those games. I think Otts came from Souls.
I think it's
Um,
Souls, Rainbow Six, Pokemon, and For Honor are like the four big ones I've noticed.
yep. Yeah, it's really weird. There just must be some mindset about that type of PvP game.
Oh, and fighting games. A lot of fighting game players come to
Oh
this.
yeah, fighting games were kind of like I like Souls online and playing it. But fighting games is my jam and yeah, there's a lot of fighting game players.
But
That's
no,
been my whole standpoint. Oh,
yeah, Yoshi. A lot of people came from Overwatch too, but I think that's more just a numbers game for that one.
oh yeah, Overwatch is so popular. But yeah, no, like I look at Dead by Daylight as a fighting game and I tell people that all the time. I think it's more or less not all that different. You instead of one enemy you got four, but they do this, this is the counterplay. This is how you
Mm,
react and it's just a back and forth the whole time. No
yeah,
different than a fighting game.
it's yeah. It's also I'm actually going to do a video talking about it. I'm sure you heard about Slushy leaving Dead by Daylight for a little bit.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
I'm gonna do a video about it, but not necessarily about her leaving, but about like how it's normal. Because
Oh yeah.
Dead by Daylight is a weird game where people kind of announce that they're leaving.
Yeah.
Because like don't get me wrong, people do it in other games, like the really big creators do it. But like the medium sized and like moderately sized creators don't really feel the need to do it.
Yeah. I have a theory on it too, why Dead by Daylight's that way, and I think it's because there's no alternative.
There's no alternative. But my point is like because I was in the League of Legends community for a while, and I've talked about how there was what I call the content creator generations,
Mm-hmm.
where like when the game first started, there was like the three big ones, and I'm not going to name who they are, but there was like the three big ones, and then they kind of moved on to their own thing, and then like four more people took their place, and then they kind of moved on to their own thing, and now it's like four more people took their place, and then it kept doing that. Dead by Daylight is this weird game where that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Everybody say that's what I mean. Like, because one, yeah, there's nowhere else to go, and two, like when you quit Dead by Daylight, you're not just quitting one game. Like if I like fighting game players, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll have some people that are really famous for Street Fighter or Tekken, and they're like, "Hey, I'm leaving Tekken for a while," and they just go to a different fighting game.
Mm.
You can't really do that with Dead by Daylight. You're just like, "Yeah, I'm leaving asymmetrical horror. Bye." Like you're leaving the whole genre. There's like, lit, I guess you could say there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that's its own thing.
And there's Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I'm
And
I'm excited. I hope that game does well. I want Dead by Daylight to have competition so bad. So bad. I'm so angry about VHS. It breaks my fucking heart so much. I don't think it was a great game. I think it was kind of miserable. I played Killer.
so did I.
I admit
I
I
played
played Puppet Master. That Puppet Master playstyle was so much fun. I miss it still.
VHS once again because I'm sure you were in the Discord too, but like we all saw it coming.
Oh, yeah. They that's the developer's fault too. I don't even blame anybody but them. They like it was just a mishandling on like every level.
Yeah,
First, like you give people keys, but you kind of don't. So you have like a group of people that are like super skilled in the game playing with ones that aren't. And then you just leave and everybody kind of forgets about your game. You come back, the name's different. Like you have this horrible attitude to your players that are complaining about the game, the killers, because it is miserable. Like people complain about bully squads and Dead by Daylight, and I think that's why they don't bother me because I survived the ones in VHS where they could actually kill you, and I
the,
was like, no, this is nothing.
I think that's why queue times don't bother me.
Yeah, that's true.
I was used to like 20
God.
minute queues. Oh,
Yeah, did you watch streamers who played VHS towards the end where they had like 2 hour queue times and they just became React channels that occasionally had VHS match
I was
breaks?
one of them. Yes.
Oh, I feel so bad. I'm so glad I didn't decide to stream that game. I had just started streaming when it like I was able to play. And I
Um,
liked it. That game was beautiful too. It looked really nice.
the killer designs were
Ah,
great. I mean, the anomaly like was so cool. I love the
yeah.
anomaly. I love the wart. Like
There's a
weaponized
alternate
amphibian replicant technology. I love that, man.
there's an alternate universe where they handled it correctly and like there's two good options for asymmetrical horror and I want to be in that universe.
You know, I've talked about it before many times. The biggest thing that game needed, it like don't get me wrong, all the bad stuff they did was part of what killed it. That game needed to go to console.
Yeah, I think console would have helped out immensely. Because the problem with like a lot of these ASIMs that are coming out is they're all tied to one thing, and I'm like, well, since you want to do the license game, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like Dead by Daylight's just it's gonna beat you for forever. You can't play the license game if you want to get into ASIM right now. Like that's what Dead by Daylight is. You're just gonna have to have really good originals. You're just gonna have to lock into that. And if you get like like old style killers like vampires and werewolves, the stuff Dead by Daylight's not apparently wanting to touch.
Hmm.
I think that's the angle you go for, and that's what they were doing.
Well, here's the thing with Dead by Daylight, because I said this before with VHS. Scooby Doo is a very good example of a IP I feel like doesn't really work for Dead by Daylight, but it would have worked amazing for VHS.
Yeah, I think we could maybe get skins, like some
Yeah.
outfits for poor survivors, like give Trapper the creeper skin or something, give Ghostface the this fuck, I just forgot the villain's name. That skin. Like you could do that, but yeah, they would have fit perfect in VHS.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Dead by Daylight, like well, yeah, we all say ah ha ha goofy. Like it's definitely going for a more serious tone.
Yeah.
Especially with the killer designs. So it's like a game that comes along like VHS that was able to be more goofy.
They it was like honestly, it was the sad part is it was like the perfect opposite to Dead by Daylight. It was colorful, bright, had a different tone. It
Hmm.
was like Marvel versus DC. Dead by Daylight's like DC Comics, a little bit grittier, a little bit darker, and that was like Marvel, a little bit brighter, a little bit goofier. It just, yeah, that sucks. And I, even if Killer Clowns does well, I just don't think it's going to be the competition we really need for Dead by Daylight.
Hmm. I like Killer Clowns. Like I don't see it lasting, and that's not me hating on the game. I just don't see the staying power of it.
No, I think the only reason TCM had such a good launch was because it was such a good franchise, it was
Hmm.
based off of. But Killer Clowns, like, I don't know many people that really love it. Like, I know it's kind of a cult classic, but I don't know any diehard fans of it. Well, I know one. Never mind. I know exactly one.
Exactly one.
Exactly one.
Killer
Just one
Clowns
person.
seems like CCM too. Well, the other problem CCM ran into was the licensing. Like it stilted a lot of the design because like they can't have events. They can't like do a Christmas event. They can't like do a Halloween event. They can't like do a random like Valentine's Day or like anything like that because it doesn't fit the theme of the game.
Yeah, the theme is really confined there. Same with Killer Clowns. Like you can't really leave that theme either. You could at least dress up the map or do some of that stuff, but like for new killers,
Hmm.
like it's gonna be Killer Clowns the whole time.
It's just it's one of those things. Like
Have you heard about the what's the other one that's coming out that's like Wonderland themed and you play as like puppets and then like the survivors are rabbits and it has like different
oh
floors.
yeah, that kind of
That one looks good, but I haven't heard shit about it in a long time and I'm kind of worried now.
well
That one looked good.
that was another problem VHS had was marketing.
I know.
The only people who knew about it were people who came from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Carnival Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yoshi, that's it. Carnival Hunt.
Thank you. Yeah, Carnival Hunt. That's what it was. That one looks. I'm extremely pessimistically optimistic about it.
It's just like I don't know how to explain it. It's like I said, marketing is a huge thing, and word of mouth is great. It is, but it only goes so far.
It doesn't even work nowadays. So many people are online. Like we, there was a really good documentary just put out about how we live in like the age of loneliness. Like we're more connected than we've ever been,
Mm.
but only in the circles we're already in.
Yeah.
So it's so isolating that like word of mouth doesn't really work anymore. We don't spread news that way. You have to go out and seek what you want.
Well, yeah, but I mean word of mouth. Like even on Helldivers 2 did as good as it did because of word of mouth.
That's a good point. That's a good argument, actually. I guess that's true.
Games like DRG, same thing. Like
Lethal Company, a little bit.
Lethal
Yeah,
Company,
that's fair.
like those games basically had zero marketing. It's
But
just the communities were as good as they were, and then the marketing came. That's the thing.
was it that the communities came together, or was it that it had marketing in the way of like big streamers and big YouTubers picking them up?
I mean, I would consider that word of mouth though,
That's
unless.
fair. I guess it's like a weird mixture, isn't it? I
Uh-huh.
guess it's not really marketing because they didn't really pay for it. That's fair. Okay, that's
Yeah,
a good point.
if you're not paying for it, I think it's definitely just word of
Goes
mouth.
into word.
But I mean,
Okay.
then you run into like the Apex situation where like
Yeah.
EA paid streamers to play it. It's
That
I don't know. It's
and
like I said with
could you
with VHS. It's like if they marketed that game more, I think it would have done much better than it did.
were you around for the Dead by Day, like the official Dead by Daylight tournament when
Uh,
that happened?
which one?
The really bad one where we had the really bad casters that didn't even know how the game worked.
Oh yes,
Uh,
yes, I was around
yeah.
for that one.
Could you imagine if Dead by Daylight or just Behavior had gotten their shit together for that, and we actually had like a successful tournament with like big name people like actually enjoying the game and knowing what was going on? Like it actually got these people hooked in. Oh,
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. Like Dead by Daylight, also, many people have said this. It doesn't know what it wants to be, competitive or casual. Which, I mean, much like with Pokemon, I think it's possible to be both.
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a party game. I think that's such a bad argument. I've thought a lot about it, and I'm like, at the end of the day, you can say it's a party game, and some people will goof around like it's a party game, but the majority are gonna play competitively and want to win. Losing sucks, and even I goof around, right? Like I dance in the middle of battles, or battles. Now talks way too much about Pokemon. In the middle of matches, like multiple times every night. But like at the end of the day, I still like put on competitive builds and learn strats. I practice scanceling like once a week at least just to make sure I'm keeping on top of the skill. Like it is. I think it's silly to call it a party game at this point.
Well, I don't like to me, it's not a party game, and I think Troy's done a video on it because there's no rubber banding.
I think rubber banding would definitely help. I don't think competitive games can't have rubber banding. I mean, I think that's kind of what the idea with batteries included was supposed to be. Right? You get speed in those areas where the gens were completed, so you kind of get a benefit once you start falling behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like those perks. There's just not a lot of them in Dead by Daylight, and I think it'd help with the competitiveness if we actually had a few more, just to help balance out a little bit, so it wasn't so snowbally. Seems like every match is 4Ks or 4-man outs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just also an inherent problem with just how the game's designed, right?
Yeah.
Because I've talked about this before too. It's like it's very difficult to appease everyone with this game because people talk about like the 60% kill rate. It's like, oh, that's too high. Is it though?
No, I mean it's basic statistics. That's how. I mean, I don't get mad at behavior. I know everybody's like they don't know what they want. They don't know what they're designing. I was like, well, fucking course they don't. This game wasn't meant to be this ever. It was a game based off tag. Tag was the idea. Tag. It's a game of tag, and they didn't expect it to be this. Of course, like what are you supposed to do in that situation? That's like waking up, finding out that you have a school fair that day at school, and you like put pasta on a piece of cardboard, and they're like, "This is the greatest thing ever. Like, we're gonna make a business off of this for the next 8 years." Like, you wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah, I feel bad for them sometimes. That it's got to be stressful.
I mean, like realistically, what is their option? Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the thing. It's either they make everyone mad or they make everyone happy. It seems.
They're in the perfect bad situation where the more success they have, the worse, the more problems they have. Because at the end of the day, we all know what the problem is we need we need a legitimate new game.
Yeah.
Like it just needs to be uplifted from the ground up. But you can't do Dead by Daylight 2 because then you lose all the licensing, and they can't take the time off because Dead by Daylight's their cash cow, and they're like making movies, other games, so they need that cash flow. So like at some point, something's gonna break to where one of those two things is gonna come out ahead. It has to.
Axolotl, it feels like I'm just recording a video. Listen, okay? I brought a guest on, we're talking, and I was like, you know what? I thought it was a little boring just watching a menu, okay? I'm going to play some Xenomorph, because they're, in my opinion, very not brain-intensive.
I take no offense.
Well,
I love Xenomorph.
I'm just saying, like, I don't have to, like... The most I have to do is aim.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, I don't have to... Xeno's a chase killer. Chase killers you can kind of just play. You don't have to focus on the macro as much all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can with Xeno, right? You can really dig into the turrets, use it to, like, tell what's going on throughout the match. But more or less, if you just want to do chases, you can just do chases and do okay.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like, whenever I watch Brand, that's one thing I always find odd, is how did I miss that? I very rarely see him use tunnels.
Yeah, I get into that too. Like, once I'm streaming and playing Xeno, I forget about my tunnels. You get into that Zen mode where you're just, like, hitting tail attacks and running around.
Mm-hmm.
So why Knight? I don't know how Pixie does it. I play Knight on stream, and it's so aggravating because you got to keep up chat. You got to keep up the conversation, but then you're also trying to, like, play this massive macro game. Because, I mean, I don't like dropping guards right in the middle of loops just to get the free hit, but, you know. Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of the... I mean, Knight's... I've talked about Knight so many times, how...
Fair.
Like, I did, like, a 4-hour talk with somebody about it, but I like the idea, it's just... I just don't think it works in this game as well as it could.
Yeah, no, there's definitely problems. I think one of the most flawed characters, unfortunately.
I think it's a character where the idea came first and they weren't sure how to implement it.
Yeah, the guards really seemed random when I first heard about it. When we saw, like, the trailers and stuff, and then the guards came out, I was like, wait. Okay, interesting, I guess. Not what I would have expected. I would have expected him to, like... I guess I don't know what I expected, just not that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as talking over gameplay, like, I've gotten better about it over the years, but... It's
definitely a skill.
It is, for sure. I mean, like, I'm not doing terrible right now.
No, I mean, you're at, like, 6 hooks with 3 gens left. That's not bad. I mean, you're even playing other Twitch streamers, too. You got 2 of them at the very least in there, so...
Mm-hmm.
They're competent at the game at least a little bit.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I hear so many people say they don't stream killer because they don't know how to, like, play the game while talking at the same time.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't enjoy playing it. I don't enjoy streaming as Survivor as much as Killer. I don't know
what to talk about.
Yeah, like, as Survivor, I'm like, oh, I'm on a gen, and, like, I might be able to, like, goof around and do, like, little bits here and there, but as Killer, like, there's always constantly something on my mind that I can talk about.
Yeah.
It just seems like second nature. Survivor, I'd have to be, like, I mean, I think we've all seen him, like, that one Survivor that's just trying to get your attention the whole match, so they're constantly in chase and just kind of throwing the whole match for their team, and I don't want to play Survivor that way.
I mean, yeah, like, with Killer, it's like... I don't know, like if I don't, like, have something to talk about like I am right now, like, I can talk about, like, what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna down this guy and take him to this hook over here because that'll give me some pressure on this side of the map. And then I'm gonna go to the right because I know that they unhooked the Dwight up here. Like there's just always something to talk about. With Survivor, it's like, I just, what do you talk about?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I don't really, like, when I stream with other Survivors, I don't really like having them on voice chat because it makes it really hard to talk to chat and them at the same time. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so Killer just naturally works out better.
Yeah, take no offense to this. I'm having the same problem right now.
You're good. I understand. By the way, whenever you need me to go, just, like, shoot me out. I'm horrible at
literally, I do not mind if you're here for the last hour of this. At this point, I think chat's cool with it too. So it's different. It's something different. Why not?
Yeah, I felt bad. We did the talk we were planned, and then I dragged you into talking about Pokemon and stuff, and I felt kind of guilty.
Here's the thing: I suck at ending conversations. The behind the scenes thing for the podcast stuff. Um, I thought it was going to be a short stream too, Axolotl. I guess not. I'll go normal because I'm not even tired to drink a monster. Um, the podcast things, like I think the Ghostface one is a good example. It's not out yet, but that podcast is 5 hours long.
Oh
I
man,
think it's one of the longest ones. We talked for an additional 4 hours after that because I don't know
I
how
like
to
it.
I don't know how to end a conversation.
That's not a bad thing. That just means you're kind of like something clicked, right? There's just a lot to talk about, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool that you have the after period after the main conversation. I think that's a really cool thing I don't see with a lot of other podcasts.
I mean, it's weird too because I don't make it a secret. I'm a very introverted person. I do not talk at all most of the day. How did
Yeah,
that miss?
I don't know. I hate when that happens. It reads the wall before the survivor. Rough. Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Like I don't know if it's a talent, but I can literally talk about anything for like hours on end.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of introverted people are that way, right? Like they're very selective about when they talk and who they talk to, but once they talk, there's a lot there. It's
Mhm.
just like the opposite. I feel like a lot of extroverted people sometimes don't always know what to talk about, but they're always eager to talk to everybody most of the time. So, just different spreads.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Like if someone at work mentioned Pokemon, I probably wouldn't shut up about it for like 2 hours.
There's just so much. It's so complicated, and it's like something that really shouldn't be. It's yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe they even just got rid of Ash finally. I don't know how many years it's been, but that was quite
Uh,
the change.
22 wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, I'm actually kind of happy. It must have sucked being a kid trying to get into Pokemon, and the main character is this guy that's been around for 22 years. That's
How do I compete with this?
yeah, yeah. So like, I think it's fine they changed. I know a lot of people, namely millennials, were really upset about that, but I think it was needed at this point.
Oh, look at that. Talking to somebody, not even paying attention to the game, I still get a 4K. So either I'm really good at this game, or these guys are just easy. I don't know. New anime just released episodes on Netflix, and it's okay. I've heard decent things about the new thing.
Like what, new anime? The only show I've been into, I can't get past it, is like X-Men '97. I've been so ingrained into that. I've watched every episode like 2 or 3 times. It's a
Oh, did
problem.
you watch Chucky yet?
I was I didn't get a chance yet. Today was my first time to like watch TV in the last few days, and I
Mhm.
put on X-Men '97 because I forgot Chucky had launched. We talked about it, and then I started watching it right before we got on. I got about halfway through the episode, but I had the little reference leaked to me right before, so I
Oh
found out
yeah,
about the
Meth
yeah
Rican.
the Mithrigan thing, which is so funny.
Oh,
Uh, I'm so glad they did that because we've all like ever since that movie came out, I think everybody's had Chucky and Megan on their minds as
mhm.
like a crossover. So,
I'm just glad they acknowledge it. I love it when they do that.
well,
It's
I
just
mean,
Chucky's like one of the only franchises that can get away with something like that, and people don't think it's like jarring.
agreed. That's why I think Chucky is the only horror character that could go to space, and I think the movie would turn out okay. It's the only one. So when Don Mancini put the like little Chucky floating in space, I got so excited. It's
Mm-hmm.
the only killer that makes any sense going there. I mean, to some extent.
Get a survivor with well, I'm playing Xenomorph. I can do it.
Isn't the I think Megan's director is the one making the Dead by Daylight movie too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I'm not sure offhand.
Mm. No, no. I'm curious what they're gonna do about that. I kind of wish they would do like a anthology series where like one movie's about like
Each
a
killer.
survivor and kill. Yeah, and then fuck, you could even do the Avengers thing that movie studios love to do now, and just do like a movie in the entities realm, mixing some of the survivors we've met all together.
Myth, let me humble brag, okay? I can humble brag all I want. I'm so good at the game. I can do whatever I want while I'm playing. Okay, it's
Oh
fine.
yeah.
Watch me get my ass kicked. I have 2 flashlights. I'm gonna do the absolute Chad thing. I'm Shadowborn.
So, have you put out what was your most recent tier list? Like how long ago was it?
December.
Where I wanted to ask earlier, where do you put Chucky on it?
Oh, my killer tier list. That was like 2 months ago. I think I put him top 6.
You put him top. Okay, so you're not too far from where I'm at.
Yeah.
I see a lot. I mean, I think most people now put him in top 5. I think after Otz made that one video and everybody's putting him in top 3. I think there's still people saying that, but I was curious.
I think he has the reason I put him lower than most do is because I take into account that he's 110.
Yeah, I think people forget that. I think a lot of people forget the 110 and then the cooldown. I think those are the 2 things that really hold him back. I typically I think I have him at like 7 or 8, depending on a few things.
Axelot, I don't think top 3 is ever not going to be Blight, Nurse, and Spirit. I don't think it can be.
Yeah, there's. Hey, no, not true. Have you played Twins on the PTV?
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. They dethroned Nurse. That's right. I cannot believe people were saying they were stronger than. I don't even agree with that. I agree they're super strong, like Blight level, but they're not better than Nurse.
I think they were above Blight, but still far below Nurse. I think they're faster than Nurse, maybe. Like well, you could get downs faster, like once you found them and got to them.
Excellent, but what you're saying there with like and missing a slice and dice is really punishing. My question with this has always come down to because I ask this question all the time and I get different results every time I ask it. Do we when we're like looking at the strength of a killer, do we just assume they hit every hit?
Well, now it's just a question of if are we grading them on the like average or at their best capabilities, right?
Yeah, it's like because like with Chucky, it's like are we assuming they're gonna miss some slice and dices because they will? Even the good Chucky players do.
Usually in those conversations, I try to go, okay, what's like the best case scenario? Like if you took the best person to play this killer, right, like fully optimal. How they play, I think even they, with Chucky, given like what the hitboxes are for him right now, is guaranteed to miss slice and dices. Even if they should hit, I mean, they're gonna miss. He hits so many weird invisible walls. Hell, even your M1, I've never had so many M1s phase through a survivor as when I play Chucky. It's just weird. There's these videos I pulled for Bran that show the in-game files and how like it actually shows the hitbox for Xeno's tail and how it works. And I've been trying to contact the guy that made those videos, but he just like disappeared because I wanted the same thing for Chucky. I want to see the actual in-game rendering of the hitbox to understand what the hell's happening half the time.
Yeah,
because you've noticed you can hit over certain objects if you tilt the camera up versus horizontal or down, right?
Yeah,
like he phases through. Yeah, there's just some really weird stuff with that where, yeah, I want to understand a little bit better what's going on.
This man just tried to crouch tech me?
He did, which it does actually work against Xeno sometimes. You'll tail will go right through him and hit the ground right on the other side. It's really annoying.
I mean, I M1'd him, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do with it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see people crouch tech Chucky.
I know that one always makes me laugh. I'm like, person, I am on the ground already. If anything, you're making it easier for me. Yeah, I don't.
It's one of those things that well, I tell people this all the time. Chucky's swing goes up and down.
Yeah, does it feel like it's slightly to the left for you? I've noticed like I hit the invisible walls or I'll hit like a rock more often on my left side than my right side. So it doesn't seem like it's on center, which Xeno's tail, if I'm not mistaken, is to the left and up a tiny bit. Like it's not exactly dead screen. So it's interesting. Hence why I want to get a hold of this guy that was able to get those.
What is this Fawn doing?
Clips. Honestly, I thought they were a bot for a second because they were doing the thing where they like stay at the pallet and just like vault it when you go to one side. So that was like Like, not to call them a bot and be rude. That was like bot play style.
Well, whoever this Nia is freaking the fuck out right now. Okay, there she goes. But M1 still feels weird. I think his M1, like I said, it's because of how it's designed. Like, because his hitbox is the same as every other killer, but he's down, so they had to make him swing up and down, so it looks weirder than it is.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff you can do. You can slide on the guard, like the guardrails on Haddonfield, like in between the floor and there, and actually get cheap hits when they get. How do I explain it? Like the main house that's got like the walkway at the front, and then they got that vault. So you either go and vault behind them, or you try to mind game them and get them on the back end of it. You can do both options with Chucky. He can walk alongside the railing and still hit through it and cover both options.
That's fine. It's just
then like on
because like I said, it's because the hitbox is technically like way above him.
yeah, it's weird.
I mean, because I've talked about
Your guys is
with
your discovery with like his little I like you guys mentioned like he's got the hitbox on top of his head for like the footsteps. I just mentioned just imagine him having like a 5-foot tall top hat, and if you'd see the top hat,
you should have seen you should have seen the original thumbnail for that video.
You said that in the video, and I was like, I want to see this now.
It's like I got like 2 necks, and photoshopped them on top of Chucky. It's like the most cursed image ever. I need to find it somewhere. I think it's under the Kaiser.
That's good. I'm glad you just got Kaiser to play Chucky, because like right before he played, I think he had just done his killer tier list, and he talked about how much he hated Chucky, and then like immediately he's now playing Chucky. So I thought that was just great.
Yeah, they still aren't like doing the best on Chucky right now, to be honest. I get a message from them every day like, how do you play this killer?
Yeah, I think it's cool of them that they're like sticking with it, even when they have a hard time on a killer. Like they really stick to it. And I really respect that.
Yeah, Kaiser wasn't the biggest.
People do that.
Kaiser wasn't the biggest fan of what's it called? Wraith, but they stuck through that one.
I still don't like Wraith, but yeah, I don't like playing against Wraith. I don't mind playing as Wraith. I don't think it's.
I hate playing against Wraith.
I don't think they're the strongest, but they're my least favorite. Just not interesting, and I don't usually like saying that about killers, but Wraith is the only one where I'm like, I just don't get why this one doesn't have better counterplay. I wish it was just something different.
Can you guys stop trying to crouch check me, please?
Yeah, no kidding. It hasn't worked one time, I don't think. I don't know why they keep going for it.
Ooh, I thought he would wait. Nope.
Nice.
You waiting up? He's waiting up.
Weird choices. This is a really interesting team.
Yeah. Character development is happening. What character development? But not only killer I've grown against is Pinhead, but not today. I hate going against Wraith. No. I hate going against Wraith. I despise going against Pinhead. There's a difference.
I think Pinhead's annoying when you're in solo queue. In a team, I don't think he's a problem at all. But yeah,
I forgot. I was playing against someone a couple days ago, and they straight up told me like they had their crouch button binded to when they stop moving.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, that's why you were crouching every single hit, like from Chucky? And they're like, yeah. What? Why would you do that? Like, it just seems like really, really, really bad for you.
They obviously don't walk at all, so they probably get found quite often, but that's Huh? I've never heard of somebody doing that.
Does this guy have
Very
objects?
You got. I can only see some of these. You got Agi.
Uh,
Maybe.
Agi, Floods of Rage, Shadowborn.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody get off the hook, so. Or dramaturgy.
I mean, it might be drowned. It shouldn't be giving this much aura reading, though, should it?
I don't know. It's quite a bit for sure. Scene partner? Is that how that one works? I don't ever see scene partner, so I kind of forgot.
He's screaming every time, though.
Hmm. We'll find out.
You'll think you'll be running more slug builds until background player gets nerfed? I don't think background player is ever going to get nerfed. And honestly, I don't think it needs to.
No, I think the only problem with background player is the flashbangs being guaranteed. I think you fix the flashbang issue and it's totally fine.
Well, it's also...
It just sucks that you can like look at a wall and do everything correctly as a killer, and you can still get blinded no matter what. Outside of that,
someone was right on that gen as I walked by. What the fuck?
they must have been right behind that rock on the hill.
Ooh, I thought it was long enough. It's not 10 meters, damn it.
Oh, like barely.
I think, like... I think background player, like I said, I think is fine. There's situations where it's very frustrating.
Yeah, oh no, it is 100% frustrating. Not as bad as the fuckle up combo as it's now termed, but yeah, no, background player can definitely, because it shores up a lot of mistakes. You don't have to have like the careful precision of being in the right place and hovering around and have that like good timing. You just kind of get it for free now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Yeah, I'm no longer impressed by flashlight saves. I used to be like, oh shit, like I looked around, I didn't find you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had great timing, that was amazing, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
I have a clip of me playing on Eerie and someone getting it through out of the corner of my eye. Like I couldn't even see them. And they got a flashlight save somehow. I usually don't get too frustrated by them, but when they're like that, I'm like, what the fuck? What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, I was on a map on, I think I was on Swamp, and I was like, full on, my nose was in the wall, and they got me from the side somehow, and I was like, there's nothing you can do here. There's no better way I could position myself. It was horrible.
You run into me?
I don't know. It's actually kind of hard. So I'm watching your gameplay, but I don't have your game sound. So it's weird watching the gameplay without hearing the sounds. It definitely feels like I have half the game sense.
I have not seen this Neo the entire match.
Yeah.
I legitimately don't know where she is.
Well, I don't think I've seen her when your Floods of Rage has popped either, so I'm guessing a Distortion Calm Spirit user, maybe Soul Survivor.
I mean, once again, I'm talking, so like,
well, yeah, no, super fair.
I think,
by the way, like another win while talking.
Yeah, background player is stronger on average than Buckle Up. When it works, more momentum gaining from background play. I mean, yeah, I think Buckle Up should have a range. Like, I still think it should be 32 meters. Or, like, maybe 40 meters. Like, because, like, force hesitation would be a counter to it.
But the only thing is, like, at least background player, you have a, like, there's a more you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have more options. With Buckle Up for the people, you legitimately just have 0 options.
Mm-hmm.
There's just legitimately nothing. I think that's the only reason that one separates. But background player is super strong. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, Buckle Up does still technically have... Like, I guess it does have the downside of you injure yourself, but, like, you also get the endurance to make up for it because of Buckle Up.
Yeah. Well, and most teams that are, like, a competent team will have, you know, like, a syringe ready to go, so they get insta-healed right when the endurance... Right around when the endurance ends. And all these other things, like, they're built for that. So it's just difficult, but I don't know. It's funny that Save the Best for Last was a really good counter to it for a minute, and then it got nerfed.
She had the Nia had Inner Strength, Iron Will, Urban Evasion, Life, a med kit with dressings, and brought us to Azeroth.
Weird.
My best guess, she was crouching around the map the whole time,
Yeah.
doing gens. That's all I can imagine she was doing.
Urban Evasion's such a bad, but like sometimes secretly good perk. I think it's one of those ones that's horrible almost 90% of the game. But if you were to play against like the top 1%, it's such a dumb idea to bring it that they don't account for it.
It's really good against Huntress and Deathslinger.
It is good against those two. That's true.
And the 40-second exhaustion timer is not very long for background player. That is true. However, background player is the only exhaustion perk in the game that I know of that can go on. They put you in exhaustion while you're on a hook.
Yeah.
Because if someone gets picked up while you're on a hook, you go into the exhausted state. The thing is, though, and I mentioned this with like Grim Embrace and Pain Res, because people are like, revert them to back to what they were because they're too strong. The same thing with background player.
They're horrible.
Guys, when they were the old way, no one used them.
Yeah, no, I'm 30 games into a 50 game study of that, and they've performed so much worse than any other combination of gen regression. At first I was just testing pop and pain res, and then I started running one of each instead. And even pop on its own, pain res not so much, but pop on its own performed so much more accurate, much more consistently than the Dead Man Switch combo so far.
Otters, you get the exhaustion effect after the timer goes out. So if you're on a hook when someone gets picked up, you still get exhausted. Unless if I'm incorrect, so I might be incorrect, but that's what's happened to me whenever I run it. Grim Embrace is perfectly. I think Grim Embrace is fine. Like people talk about Deadman.
I do too.
For those who don't know what old Deadman Switch did, it was the same thing it does now, except it only worked when you hooked the obsession.
Yeah, I think it's fine, right? Like the other gen perks regress progress of the game. It regresses the game state. This just puts it on hold, and you can still go do valuable things like heal, go Sabo hook, do whatever you need to do. There's valuable things you can do in that meantime. It's not nearly as strong.
Yeah, and I've talked about I think the problem with perks is most of them just aren't good. It's not necessarily that a bunch. There's like 2 on each side right now that I would say are classified as overpowered, quote unquote. But the biggest problem with the game is just too many perks are just bad.
That's true.
Or too situational.
What are okay, so you said 2 on each side? I'm assuming I know the survivor ones, but I'm curious about the killer ones.
I mean, overpowered is a strong word, but I would.
Which ones do you think are a problem on the killer side?
A problem? I mean, I still think Noah's a problem.
Oh, I agree. That's actually the one I was hoping to hear. I think Noah's a huge problem.
I don't think and I think Knockout's a huge problem too, but no one runs it. I think Noah's a problem not because of its strength, but because it's just frustrating to play against.
Well, I think it makes killers worse. It's one of those ones that it helps cover up all your mistakes, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's really not good for killer players to grow, and it's not good for survivors to play against.
And I don't know, because my definition of overpowered is a little different. Because at the same time, because I kind of agree with behavior to a degree where they nerf things based on usage.
That's fair.
To a degree, I agree with that because I like to see things change. I don't I know Windows isn't overpowered. I'm not going to sit here and claim it is. However, the fact that 80% of players use it, I think that's a problem.
I'm curious. I don't know how much they've talked about it, but they say they pull these stats, right? And I think it's easy, especially for us in the West here. But they have servers in Japan and a bunch of other places, and they have completely different play styles.
Well, Doctor's one of the most popular killers in I think Korea.
Yeah, and so that's if they're putting all the information together like across the board, that's got to be some really conflicting information.
Well,
That's got to be really weird.
I mean, it's just like tier lists. Like, I forget which country it is, but they typically put Doctor in like S tier. Whoa, game! What the fuck was that?
That was quite weird.
Um,
Legion's quite big in Japan from what I was reading, I think, which is wild to me. But I guess if you have a meta that's built on self-care, I guess that kind of makes sense.
yeah, that's another thing. Like self care is like really popular in I think the Japan servers.
Yeah, apparently they like all use it, so I guess that makes sense that Legion would be so popular there as an S tier killer. So it's interesting how that works. So I don't know if if they do look at the game as a whole and put all those numbers together as a whole. I don't know if that's the best way to look at it, or maybe it is the best way to look at it.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
it's one of those things. Like League is another good example of this because like average match time in like Korean servers is like 20 minutes. Nice dodge. Average match time in like Korea is like 20 minutes. In America, it was like 40 minutes for a little bit there, and that's just because they surrender more often.
Oh, I'd hate that. I don't know that me and Bran agree on like 90% of things, but I think the DC thing is the one thing that me and him tend to disagree on. I don't know. As somebody who played Knight and having to play so many 4-man bot games, even though I had 0 gen regression perks,
Yeah.
it told me on that if people don't like killers, they're just going to DC every time, and if you just give them that for free the whole time, you just won't get to play a good host of quote unquote strong killers. Not even that I'd consider Knight a strong killer.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing is it's like DCing as an option has just always been strange to me. Why is there another window there?
No, I don't like if you have like your kid falls down the stair. Like I think you should get multiple free DCs a day. Like I'd give you 3 free DCs. I don't care at that point. I just don't want it to be something that people do and have that like okay next kind of attitude with Dead by Daylight.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it'd be different like if people could like come into the game like randomly, but I don't think that would be a solution either.
No, that sucks for them. Could you imagine like waiting a few minutes to load into like a 9-hook game? You're still at 5 gens. That'd be horrible. Not to mention as a killer to keep track of like, because would you pop in with what the old Survivor had, or do you pop in and just now you have to deal with a whole new build?
These are true statements.
It's just like there's so much going on there. I don't think that ever work.
Am I lagging? I don't know what the fuck is going on.
No, I don't see a red bar on anybody or you, so I don't know why it would be. Then again, the servers have been horrible lately.
I don't know if it's Dead by Daylight or like everything. What the fuck? I'm not saying that because I was missing, chat. I'm saying that because I was like jumping across the screen.
Do we have a copium emote available, or I'm just kidding.
Fucking Meg just ice skated a second ago. I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah,
like what the fuck is this?
Well, that was crazy slow on my side. I guess I could even be the streaming lag too, so it's
probably.
Man, yeah, that was really choppy. Yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. I don't know. I play through my difficult games and try to at least learn from them. I can't go in like expecting each match to be in my favor.
What the fuck? Okay. I love Garden of Joy. The best map in the game.
Don't hate me. This is my favorite Xeno map.
Is it really? Yeah,
this is 100% my favorite one. The meatpacking plant is like, it's hit or miss, but I actually enjoy a lot of my meatpacking plant Xeno games because they go down that chute and I can get that one really cool hit. Here, you can get some cool hits on the windows, and then that banister with the god palette, you can just hit over that and get free hits. So Xeno shuts down like a lot of the strong loops here.
I mean, I've said it before, my favorite Chucky map is actually Eerie.
Eerie's not bad. Yeah, I don't think I've had too many horrible games with Chucky there. I hate Ormond sometimes with Chucky there. It's nice and big and open, but sometimes if they spread out and do like the 4 corners, it's just annoying more than anything. Actually, Larry's not using Scamper at all and going to Larry's is really rough.
I mean, Larry's, I think, is rough on Chucky in general. Windows are like his biggest counter.
Yeah, that one's really fun if you have the TV and you manage to go to the end game because you can just scamper endlessly again. But yeah, it's just that one's rough. Aside of that, I don't think he's got too many bad maps that bother me.
What the fuck is this like? Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like your stream lagging or how much of it's just what's actually in the game, but it's kind of crazy.
And now's the part where I get quiet.
No, you're good. I was reading about Axolotl's responses to what we were talking about. Yeah, I don't know how you'd be able to talk and focus on that match anyways with how much lag there is. That's a lot to deal with.
Like, I apathy mostly. I always hate to tell people that. It's like, man, I wish I could give some players my apathy because it would probably help them a lot. Like, I could camper. I could camper. I don't care, though.
No, I used to do that to, like, you know, secure your last kill. If I'm done with the match, like, I'll do that. I think I namely do that with Knight a lot of times just because, like, I give up a bit.
I mean, I did it to the Fong
the
last
time-
match, but, like, because I didn't know where the Neo was.
Yeah, but more often than not, if it's 10 game, I don't really mind if I lose. I'm just going to go for chases and have fun. And hey, sometimes you actually get more kills out of it, too.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Oh, missed it. I thought it was in range. Game on Andy, let's go. All right.
Oh, you got it. She was too worried about zoning the tail and just walked right into it.
I don't know why she was too worried about sending the tail was down. Oh. I am reading chat. What do you mean, Axolotl? I'm just not responding because someone else is talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was you had that in the bag up until all the lag really started taking control there for a minute.
It's also the audio lag. Like, this shit is stuttering so fucking hard right now.
Yeah, it almost seems like the game's about to shut down at any moment on my side.
Are you shitting me with this?
Oh. Oh,
So
man.
now I just wait, right? I just wait. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. That's
Oh, someone has plot twist.
oh, interesting. They aren't injured either, so they could come and maybe get one of them up because you hit them and they finish the heal.
Oh, there it is.
then you just down
Power
the
struggle. Fucking power struggle.
Rough. Damn.
I need a
Just
flashlight. Let's go.
And that's Dead by Daylight, folks. It can turn around in a second.
It doesn't matter. I wouldn't have won for that anyways. Well, once again, welcome to the problem with it. This is why people don't like playing either side, because shit like that happens, and it's like, what do you do? Like, you just feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, how did that miss?
I think
But
this,
these are
I
the
think
games
that's
people.
Why?
But these are the games people want on the other side, though. That's the thing.
I think the BMing at the end gates is a big reason that causes a lot of stress for killers. I think that's where I see them lose it.
I don't care.
I find the waste of time more annoying than anything. But that looked like it should have hit.
Both of them did. Power? You think Power Struggle's a non-healthy perk? I think Power Struggle's fine. You have to combine it with...
Power Struggle's...
You have to combine it with one other perk minimum to get use out of it.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite perks in the entire game, actually. I want more Power Struggle type perks. I think that one's so fun. It gives so much more depth. It can definitely be frustrating. I get that. Like if they have a Unbreakable or Plot Twist and then they go under there, so if you pick them up, they Power Struggle. If you don't, they just get up anyways. You know, that kind of thing. That can definitely suck.
I love it when I bring Shadowborn and people tell me it's awesome to see it because no one fucking brings this perk. You know, actually, is really good with Shadowborn. Is fucking Myers.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I forgot which match it was, but someone blinded me at a pallet once, and I just popped tier 2 in their or tier 3 in their face and got up to them like instantly. Can create so many lose-lose situations. Just bleed them out. I hate to say it, but I mean, that was my problem. I shouldn't have picked her up. I should have just left him. There was no reason for me to pick him up. I was just like, I don't feel like waiting.
Toxic streamer talking about bleeding everybody out. Jeez.
If someone is going to run Boil Over and go to the top of fucking RPD on the 3rd floor and get mad at me for bleeding them out, that is their fault, not mine. GG's, guys. GG's.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's I try to be the nicest killer I can, right? Like I don't really camp or tunnel. I try to 12 hook most of my games if I can. Fuck, like I said before, dance during my matches numerous times.
Yeah, the dancing.
But like at the end of the day, if you're gonna do Boil Over and all this other stuff, and you don't want to let me hook you, I'd like that's really my only option. I'll bleed you out, no problem. You know. Or if you want to like body block on Death Hook, like you made your decision. You know, like my hands were tied.
Jedi, if like I said, I was playing that match at like 15 frames a second the entire time. The Meg, anytime she was on screen for me, she was literally skating. So like I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, that was a game. I don't know what that was. Yeah, that was quite a bit of lag. I don't think I've ever seen my game lag that much.
Yeah, and Garden of Joy didn't help either.
Yeah, Garden of Joy can hurt for sure.
Yeah, whoever the Meg was, like I think they went through the door into the main building, and they were literally like they were moonwalking, I think, but they weren't like their model wasn't moving. They were just like T-posing into the doorway for me. It was so weird. This game's perfect. This game has no issues whatsoever.
No bugs. The exact opposite of a Bethesda game in all reality.
And to you,
machine.
You know, I'm shit. Thank you for the follow, Jedi. Why did that end so quick? What the fuck? What is going on? A Lython a Fong. What a shocker. I don't know. Do you think do you think exhaustion perks need like
a rework?
I don't know.
I think they're necessary almost.
I think they are too, but like part of me like because I don't want to gut them. I think like they do what they need to do, and I think extending chase is very important.
I have an asinine take I haven't talked about of what I think they should do with perks. I think every perk should have a downside attached to it. Like, have you ever played like? What's a good game that does it? Oh, I have a horrible example. Have you ever played like Fallout 76?
I thought you were going to say
Right.
Fallout New Vegas.
That too, right? I think every perk in Dead by Daylight should work that exact same way. Like, give me a benefit and a negative, right? Because then I have like way more interesting choices. I don't think it matters how many perk. Like, we talked earlier that there aren't that many good perks to run. I think even if you made good perks, there's always gonna be one or two that stand above the others, and people are just gonna always pick those. That's just what a meta is. But when you start adding negatives to them, and you have to juggle like the different negatives together along with the positives, along with the person's play style, like now you're talking about some complexity I can really dig into. That I think would make it really interesting, right? And then it like if you want to make some really busted ass perk, go for it. You just add a really busted ass negative, and then if you need to balance it, you just up one side of it versus the other. It'd be like balancing them is no longer we have to rework it and like come up with a whole new idea.
Also, thank you
Now
for the
we just-
hydrate, Kenny. Sorry.
No, you're good. We just rebalance them. I don't think they'll ever do that, but if that's what I would love to see happen.
Well, I mean, it's definitely
Like
a way
sprint,
to do
like
it.
sprint burst, right? Instead of like I'd even give you a bigger sprint burst and just make exhaustion last even longer for sprint burst, or something. You know, like you get exhausted longer, but you get to run far. Like I don't know. That's like a spitball out of nowhere, but yeah, some system like that I think would be really beneficial, or at least more entertaining.
Myth, what do you mean by creators like you guys make it perfect? What do we make perfect? What, the game? I appreciate that. This is what you meant. It's the nicest thing I think you've ever said.
No,
I don't like the problem with that would be like. I will say I do think people are a little harsh on behavior with balance.
oh yeah, undoubtedly. I think the recent PTB is the only one where I've had a hard time defending them and being like, okay, like
Well,
there's no way you guys played the twins at actually I take that back. They obviously played them for 10 minutes and were like, oh, we need to delay the PTB for a few days to figure this out. And then like, yeah, that's not going to happen in a few days. Just release it.
Well, me and Kaiser put our videos talking about the PTB, and everyone was like, "Why is everyone so negative?" And then me and them were just like, "Listen, we're like some of the most positive devil's advocate for behavior of this game. If we're saying it's bad, it's bad."
Well, honestly, I think their big problem was like how they portrayed it, right? They jumped the engine up in this update. There's so many streamers. I went into their streams that day to just, get an idea. So many of them had no idea that we jumped up an engine. Like no idea. Had no clue.
We
It wasn't a
jumped?
big patch note. Yeah, that PTB is Unreal 5.
Oh,
That's why it sucks. See, even you didn't know, right?
No.
Like they didn't talk about it. Nobody mentioned it. That's why the PTB was so large. And so it's super fucking buggy because it's literally a brand new engine. It's practically a new version of the game like we all wanted. That's why I feel so bad for behavior beyond belief for this update because they're doing exactly what we wanted. They're literally giving us our cake and letting us eat it too. We're getting the game's being updated. They're putting it on a new engine. We're getting our new version that we wanted. And they're still giving us new characters. Like, they're doing both, but they never told anybody. So they just do this change. They have to know it's going to be buggy as shit, but they don't tell anybody to prep them. And somebody's like, why the fuck does this game suck? Everything's falling apart. And I'm like, yeah. But if they just been like, hey, by the way, you guys asked for it. We're upgrading the engine. It's going to be a little rough. I think everybody would have been 100% okay with it. We would have all been like, oh, yeah, this shit makes sense. But yeah, nobody fucking knew.
I mean, like they do that in a lot of patches, though. I mean, there's all like remember last patch how apparently who was it, Pyramid Head and Freddy got like new add-ons, and
Yeah.
no one knew about it because they didn't put it anywhere on the patch. And
Yeah, but see that's minor though. This is literally like this is a whole engine for the game. Like this is a like catastrophically large change, and I have no idea why they didn't tell anybody, or why they haven't talked about it on their Twitter. Nothing. I still don't think they've said anything about the PTB yet. Usually they took it down a day early. Usually they talk about it a little bit once they take it down and go, hey, here's kind of what we heard. or say something. I haven't heard shit about it. Still haven't told or like brought attention to the fact that it is that new engine. This is just really weird for them. I don't know what they were doing this time around with that.
I mean, yeah, behavior's always been bad at communicating stuff like that, though. Like, they'll always, like, forget something that seems very important to us, but I guess to them just wasn't.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I agree with you, though. I think too many people expect, like, really crazy stuff from them. And it just doesn't make any sense. I think they're doing great.
Yeah, I think other than this PTB, like, they've been doing a very good job. And I think enough. I don't think enough people have been talking about that. Granted,
Yeah.
I think that people like me and Kaiser getting mad at this PTB is justified.
No, I see. I think it's justified, but they didn't tell anybody. The only thing I honestly hate about it is the twins. I think the twins suck right now, and that's obvious. The rest of the problems, the rest of everything going away, since I knew that it's a new engine, honestly, it makes perfect sense. I'm not mad about it. I get it. In fact, I'll take some glitches. I'll take T-posing dead hard and laugh about it for a few months if that's what it takes to get like a new engine that can handle the game.
I mean, like, because, you know, we've all talked about, like, there needs to be, like, a Dead by Daylight 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, I think this is the closest we're going to get.
Yeah, that's why I'm super proud of them. They didn't even hint it. Like, they haven't been building it up. Usually, like, little things. Like they fucking try to build up hype for the the Decisive Strike animation that we all hate.
Oh, my God. Please.
But they didn't hype us up for a new engine. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get that decision. It's so wild to me.
I mean, the other thing with, like, a new engine, though, is because for some people, that's scary as shit.
It is scary. It is. I'm really worried about some killers. Like, because that means I think they have to redo some of the AI, if I'm not mistaken. So that gives me some questions about Nemesis and Knight. There's gonna be some stuff that I think is definitely gonna break, and I'm sure there's more broken stuff in the PTB. A lot of people didn't even find out yet. So it's just, yeah, it'll be interesting. But growing pains, right?
Yeah,
Kind of going to go
'cause-
through that if we want a better game eventually.
Because, I mean, I remember when League, like, upgraded their engine, everyone was terrified. Because League, like, one of the reasons League got as popular as it is because it can run on a fucking toaster. So people thought that when they upgraded the engine, it meant, like, the game wasn't going to be able to run as well as it did on, like, even low-end stuff. Which, granted, it really couldn't. It did affect that a little bit, but it wasn't as many people as they thought. But I think that's the other thing with Dead by Daylight. For the most part, this game can run on pretty much anything.
I mean, they have it on Switch, right?
Yeah. And it's not good on Switch, but it runs.
Hey, I can perform scancels on Switch. It's fine. Oh man, yeah, it's not great though. That's for sure. I still can't believe they did it. I don't know what their incentive was. It had to cost like a bit of money to do that.
It probably more importantly, it costs time.
Yeah, it was just such a weird decision. I don't know who was asking for Dead by Daylight on Switch, but I don't know. I hope it was good for them business wise. I don't know very many people who say they play it that way. That's not true. I know like 6. I had to take that back.
Yo, what a hit.
Let's go.
Fucking can't do that with Chucky.
Nope. Unfortunately not. You could get some cool hits, but not the cool drop ones.
I mean, like, I've shown people some cool slice and dice hits you can still get, but, like, no one cares because it doesn't look as fancy.
Yeah, even slice and dices I don't think really perform all that well when I post clips. Like, once you've seen it a few times, you've pretty much seen it all.
Yeah, for the most part. And, like, I can't post clips of me scampering. That's why I just post...
Yeah.
And they're, like, the Chuck Spot ones. Like, I post clips of that, but, like, no one cares, really.
Well, I've talked about Chuck Spots, and, like, I'll just be using one, and somebody in chat will be like, why are you just standing there? I'm like, oh, I'm not just standing here. I'm, like, actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a 45-second standoff with someone the other day.
Yeah, I'm like, we're playing a weird game here. It's like a whole new mind game with this killer. That's why I really don't get why people hate Chucky so much. I think they're so fun to play against. Granted, I know I'm biased. I play the killer, so I understand them in and out. But man, there's like you have to understand they're in third person, so there's that aspect. They got like tiny bits of stealth. They're just, I don't know, very fun to play against. And honestly, if you just get better at your timing with pallet stuns, they're really not even all that bad with the scamper.
No, like I tell people all the time, just don't drop the pallet. That's the mistake a lot of people make. They drop it like the moment they get to the loop.
Yeah, people get really mad. They're like, oh, well, if you just scamper under a pallet's a free hit. And at the end of the day, how's that any different than Huntress or Xenomorph hitting you over the pallet with their weapon? Like, it really isn't any different, right? In fact, like, the other two just hit a button and don't even move, and it's a hit. And then at least at a trash loop, you can probably avoid the hit. But against Xenomorph or Huntress, in the same situation, they just get the hit the same. Fuck, Nemesis can break the pallet on top of it.
Yeah. Well,
And, like... Oh, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, like, the other problem with it is, like... Because people have asked me what the counterplay for Chucky is, and I mention it a lot. And it's like... The problem isn't that Chucky doesn't have counterplay, it's that people don't like the counterplay he does have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because... Well, you got a few options, right? So, I think anytime you play against a killer, you can just go, okay, well, like... What are their stats? Like, what's their kit look like? And then you just learn the counterplay. Slow killer, so obviously you want to probably spread out so they can't get between everybody. Easy. They can scamper pallets and get free hits if you drop them. So don't drop pallets early. Just focus on getting your stuns or mind game the pallet if you can. Yeah.
I mean,
there's options.
Axolotl, I've talked about it before. When I used to play Apex Legends, I used to play Wattson, and I would literally hold up in buildings the whole match. I am a very patient person. I can stare at paints and it's fun to me. I am that guy. Don't ask me how. I just am.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, the idea of just like standing still and having someone make a mistake into me is just really funny to me.
That's what I enjoy about Chucky. I think like Xenomorph, usually I'm more proactive, right? I'm going in. It's more of a skill game. Chucky, I just like to punish mistakes. Like I kind of like sit around and I wait for the survivor to make a mistake and then I can just capitalize each time they do it. It's a completely different mindset. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also like line of sight blocking too. I think people forget that with Chucky as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot.
It's like I was doing the map rankings last week, and that was like one of the biggest factors to me. Was line of sight blockers, because there's a lot of like Ormond isn't that good. It's like your red hair contrasts with the snow, and there's not much to hide behind. You got like some of the rocks, but that's really about it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't know. Ormond and Chucky, I just don't enjoy very much.
Oh, try to just stand still a ton and see how after it works. I mean, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah. Like, just turn your red
literally
stains.
Just stand by a window. You'd be amazed by the amount of people that will vault into you. I talk about it on my stream all the time. Like, one of the best things Chucky has going for him is just stand still for like 2 seconds. They will freak the fuck out and just walk right into you every time. It's weird.
And then
they just
like the other thing is like what's funny is that it actually punishes good players more than bad players.
It does because they know the mind games and like
it's not even just the mind games. It's the what's it called the way the footfall works is they have to be looking at you. So if you're standing in front of them, if they're good, they're looking behind them.
Yep.
So they don't even know you're there.
Yeah, Chucky is so much fun because of those types of mind games. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They just see Scamper and Slice and Dice and think that's what it's about. Oh, man.
Scamper's too good. All right, guys. Well,
Scamper is too good.
I'm probably going to end stream. It's been 3 hours. This was supposed to only be the tier list thing. I know I don't know how to end a conversation, but this was definitely a different kind of stream for me. And chat, I am so sorry that I didn't respond to you guys as much as I usually do. This is why I don't usually collab.
No, I understand. I don't usually collab for the very same reason.
But regardless to everyone who stayed here for this, I love you guys. But we're gonna raid out. Ghost, do you have anyone I can raid?
Let me look. I got 2. So you probably want them to play Dead by Daylight, so not that one. There's not Captain Obvious. They're really positive, and a really good killer main. They play a lot of Pig. Super fun person.
So not Captain Obvious?
Yeah, not Captain Obvious.
Okay.
That'd be my number one pick. They're super solid.
I'll go ahead and read. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little mini podcast. I should probably make that a video. I'll figure it out later. But anyways, I love you guys. I'll see y'all. Is it Thursday?
It is Thursday.
Okay, I'll see y'all Tuesday. Next week. My vacation. Oh, you were the Dead to White. GG to you guys. Y'all played decent. The Fong was really effing me up. I'm gonna be honest with you. She liked it like the perfect times every single time. I believe this week's podcast is going to be. It's either Singularity or Ghostface. Depends on which file is corrupted. Shit, I forgot what I was saying. GG's from YouTube. What do you mean? What do you mean GG's from YouTube? Zombies, thank you for the follow.
Oh, shit.
How loud is that for you, by the way?
Oh, shit.
Is it ear curdling loud to you guys?
So I have you in the call, so I actually have not been able to hear your gameplay or your alerts.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
So the story behind why that's so loud, by the way, for everyone curious, is I put it into Steam Elements, and I went to go lower the volume, and it wouldn't let me lower it. So now it's just stuck.
Shit.
I rated.
Oh, shit.
I rated.